are live here at Comic-Con. I am with Kevin Smith, who is really cuddly. This is kind of amazing.
That's because I'm baked.
Can I tell you the
I'm
truth?
so baked. You get baked, you come to Comic-Con, you hug everybody.
I want to get baked
You're
with
just
you.
like, I love you. You don't know how many slave Leias I've hugged since I've been here. Every time I see one, I'm like, oh, you poor thing, that little bikini. We saw DMC on the street. He was just like, yo, I looked over. DMC.
On the street.
The place to be.
It's
McDaniel's, not McDonald's. That's the guy who was right
That's
there.
who you were talking
so
to?
I'm stoked, man. He like literally said my name. I've been saying his name since the 80s. So it was very nice to hear him yell my name.
Oh my God, that's such a beautiful. I can't believe that that's who you were talking to. I thought
It
you
happened
were
at
talking to a
Comic-Con.
fan.
That's the amazing thing
Right
about Comic-Con.
Right
Some
here.
people be like, why is DMC at Comic-Con? Why not? The lady that wrote 50 Shades of Grey was here a couple of years ago. He belongs here, DMC, for heaven's sakes.
So let's talk about your movie. You want
Yes,
to?
yes.
All right. So I listened to the entire podcast in which you pitched the movie, and I like the sick way your mind works.
Thank you.
But I gotta figure nobody's a walrus in this scenario here. So you guys are the guys looking for your friend who is nobody yet.
Nobody yet.
Yeah.
By the end
Tusk
of the
2
interview.
and 3, they both become walruses as well.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about what your role is in this film.
This is Justin Long's girlfriend.
Yes.
I am his coworker, and
he
we are
is
the
a
first
walrus.
people who become concerned when he doesn't appear after one of his trips. We have a podcast that involves him going and seeing crazy things around the country and me sitting in the studio and having him describe them to me. So when he doesn't come back, we have to go find him and figure out what's happened to him.
All right. So, do you find him so? You can't tell. Is that a spoiler? Do
I'll
you
tell you
find?
anything you want to know.
It's your only chance.
I'm my J.J. Abrams, where I'm like, no, you can't know. I'm the other guy who puts everything on Front Street. I'll tell you everything about my movie and his movie as well. Anything to get you to come to my movie. So ask me anything you want.
All right. So, just so if you guys don't know, and you should listen to the podcast because it's kind of amazing.
It's a good one. It's a really good one.
If you go to tuskthemovie.com, we put the podcast on the website, and that's where the trailer is going to be tonight.
Okay.
Because we debut the trailer here at Hall H during the panel at 6:30, The Musk of Tusk.
Yeah.
And then right afterwards, the trailer goes online, so everyone will be able to see it. But on the website, you can look, if you've never heard the podcast, you can look at the trailer, and then you can listen to the podcast, and you can actually see moments that we talked about coming to life. It's kind of cool.
So the whole idea behind this is that there was an ad, a fake ad as it turns out, but there was an ad for a gentleman, and I'm not surprised if this wouldn't be real, looking for somebody who was going to give him free lodging if a gentleman would dress up as a walrus for 2 hours out of the day.
To be fair, he didn't limit it to gender or gentleman. It was open to anybody. Ladies were welcome as well. But most women, being kind of level-headed and whatnot, wouldn't have taken it up. No. But the guy who put the ad in, the hoax ad, his name's Chris Parkinson. He's a British dude, lives over in Brighton, UK. When he put the ad in, he updated people, because he didn't tell us it was a hoax till later. But he said he got 2,000 applicants for the room. Wow. There were 2,000 people who were like, I'll dress as a walrus, man. That's a free room and stuff. So it captured people's imagination. Because it wasn't like you got to dress like a donkey, I'm going to ride you like a donkey. The fact that it was walrus makes people go, oh, ooh, that's cute. Like, at first you react like horrified, but then you're like, what would that be like?
There's nothing really wrong with it, but this becomes like a human centipede type, like
the
horror
human walrus.
Show.
It was our nickname for the movie. We said, on the podcast, I say, this could be like a cuddlier version of the human centipede. we actually wound up doing a little bit different. We went a different direction, but they were our Patronus. Like the human centipede. Any movie where you can sew a lot of ass to mouths and stuff, I'm like, we can get away with our movie, no problem. He opened the door big
you
time.
said it was a Patronus. That's amazing.
Well, we are at Comic-Con.
That is amazing. So the trailer is going to go live tonight. I think we do have a couple of questions from our community.
Okay.
This is from Justin. He says, Kevin, I want to know this.
Yes.
What was it like to be on the set of Star Wars? We all want to know this one.
It was phenomenal. Every part of it was magic. I went to that set I've been making movies for 20 years, so I've seen beyond the curtain. I know how the sausage is made, so it's a little more difficult to wow
but this
and
is premium sausage.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This is not even sausage.
Yeah.
This is where the animals are that will eventually be sausage. So they're still cute and cuddly and wonderful, and you can hug them and love them. So I went to that set very clinically as a director, as a person who's made films, whether they're good or not, for 20 years.
They're good.
Thank you. I do that so that people will say that. So there I am on set, and I'm talking to JJ, and I'm walking around. I was like, this is good. This makes sense. I'm glad you brought this back. You're going to make so much money. All still on an intellectual level. And then he let his assistant, Morgan, take me to go see Stage M, which is where they have the Millennium Falcon. And so standing outside the Millennium Falcon, I was still like, right on, man, they built the Millennium Falcon, you know, because I'm still in movie maker mode. Not, you know, this kind of movie, but I've done it before. I'm like, yeah, they built a set. So there was a guy there, a British guy, and he's like, you want me to turn the lights on? And I was like, oh, yeah, heavens.
Boy.
And they turned the lights on, and the shit lit up, and you could see, lit up, and you could see inside. And then Morgan was like, do you want to go on? And I was like, yeah, let me walk on. And I'm still clinical at this point, still like, wow, they're making Star Wars. And when I was a kid, I liked Star Wars. Now I'm on the Star Wars set. Life comes full circle. And then I stepped on the loading dock of the Millennium Falcon, the same ramp that you've seen them run up and down throughout all those movies in our childhood. And first time I stepped on it, I was overwhelmed, man. Like, literally, it was like getting hit with a tear gun. Like, somebody was just like, bam, because all of a sudden, I went from being clinical and being very like, yeah, this is a movie, and then these are featuring characters that I used to love when I was a kid. Took me right out of filmmaking. Suddenly erased, it did what every critic has wished they could do, erased 20 years of filmmaking that I was involved in. And suddenly I was no longer the filmmaker, I was just a little boy who loved Star Wars when I was a kid. That was my language. That's how I made friends and stuff like that. So there I was, standing on it. He built a world so tactile, so real. It's a drawbridge directly to the past.
Return to practical effects,
It's not a series of blue screens.
Yeah.
You're walking around like when in the set I was on, you could touch it. Like, of course, people were in costume and shit and makeup, but like literal sets, like where they're gonna have to store them afterwards because they're big and they're all over the place, and you get a feeling of the world and you can touch it. It's very tactile.
Wow.
Everything about it, man. Like they're running around with guns, lightsabers. You can see it all. It's all very tactile, and because of that, I don't know, there's just something about it where it's like, hey, this ain't digital. You know, for the last few years, I love digital filmmaking. Of course, we get to see an orc army attack thanks to digital filmmaking. But, you know, we've all become savvy enough at this point where we're like, well, that's digital, because nobody has access to like 100,000 orcs or something like that. Yeah. In this movie, he may not have access to a Wookiee, but he built a Wookiee. He may not have access to an alien, but he built an alien. He may not have access to a robot. He built it, and everything's practical. It's not built on a CG screen. It's built in the real world. And, you know, of course there'll be CG in the movie. It takes place in space, just like that blue screen match in the movie. You know, the first three movies, they have to do a little bit of movie magic, but it's not, and I'm not saying this to disparage like episodes 1 to 3, which I did enjoy, but there's something very real about being able to walk up to a set and go like that.
And
it was like being on, it was like,
Falcon.
Yes, that especially.
That's the coolest thing you saw there?
Yes, I saw many more cool things. I can only talk about the Falcon because people talked about it being out there. I saw something far, that was emotional. And thankfully that was like one of the second to last things I did, because I carried that shit for the rest of the day like herpes. It was so like, it'll be with me forever.
You have used that metaphor again and again.
It's because people get it. When you say herpes, they're like, that's for real. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson, but that is for real.
It never stops.
So that happened, but then I saw some other things that like, they made me sign an NDA, so I can't talk about them. The Falcon I could talk about because people talked about it online. But he's doing the Lord's work. It's like Field of Dreams, you know? And I was like, dude, if you build it, they're all going to come hard.
I know
all over face, neck, and chest.
So hard, but we do have another question from our community. That was an awkward segue, but I'm going to do it anyway. Haley, okay. Have you done anything for Kingdom Hearts 3 yet? Anything you can share? You're on the spot,
I am not allowed to share. Every time we've done a couple installments, I am on paper not allowed to share anything about it, but I know Kingdom Hearts fans are really loyal and dedicated, and they will not be disappointed when we get around to whatever's in the future. So,
welcome to Comic-Con, where nobody can talk about what they're doing because it's all a big secret.
You have to just share it without sharing.
Yeah.
Are you looking
Did they have
to
you sign stuff on the set?
Yeah, I had to sign an NDA right away. And when I walked into the office, they were like, sign here.
Right,
well, me especially. They're like, you better sign this. And there was a poster on the wall, and it looked like an old like propaganda poster from like World War II. And it was a Imperial Star Commander, you know, like Captain Nita in his outfit, and he was going like this, and the poster said, "Loose lips sink starships."
Nah.
And I was like, oh, that's funny. And Morgan, who's JJ's assistant, was like, he put that up for you. And I was like, I won't say no.
That is amazing. Are you looking forward to Shazam getting announced?
I mean, he all but announced it himself. I've watched those clips where it's just like pretty much The Rock said he's going to play Captain Marvel. But to have it made official, absolutely. The fact that there's going to be a Captain Marvel movie, Shazam for the layman, never imagined. Yes, there was a Shazam TV show when I was a kid, but like very low budget and stuff. They're actually going to do it, man. That's the wonderful world we live in now. Pop culture and comics have crossed over into the mainstream so much so that DC is going to make that movie. Warner Brothers, Marvel's going to make Ant-Man.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
on, man. Like, these movies
good.
were never
Yeah.
going to happen, and now it's viable. Everything's up for grabs. We might see a Batmite movie one day. That'd be fantastic.
Anything is possible these days. This is the one. Tell me a little bit, just wrapping it up here. We're looking forward to seeing the trailer and getting a sense of the tone. Is this straight horror, you guys? Is this comedy horror?
I wouldn't say it's straight horror. It's the gayest horror we've ever made. We don't go in for that breeder stuff, man. We like it outside the box. Go ahead. What do you think?
It's really outside the box. It's a movie for everyone. I mean, it's gonna just take you on a roller coaster of emotions. It's funny. It's horrifying, but at the same time, it'll tug at your heart. It comes out September 19th.
Make us throw up a little bit.
And believe me, after September 19th, you'll be a different person after seeing Tusk.
Maybe literally.
Yeah.
A different
All right, well,
thing.
I'm looking forward to your weird horror movie, everything else from Comic-Con. For all things Comic-Con, Kevin Smith and more, thank you for holding me. I needed that.
No worries.
Right here to IGN.
Aw.
Thank you.